Geeks assemble! What's up, guys? It's your host, Casey, the @BadBoy of Comics, and I'm here for another Geeks with Wives and Capes, episode 93. And we are your comic book, TV, superhero, movie, sequential art podcast, anything that has to do with superheroes and comics and all that good stuff. Like I said, I'm your host, Casey, and I'm here with two co-hosts. One you know regularly. He's on with us every week. It's good old Brad Bell. How's it going, Brad?
I'm doing pretty well. I've survived the pink eye epidemic at my house without ending up looking like Cyborg from the Justice League. I still have my left eye intact, but it's been a rough week. It's went from me to now my dog has pink eye, and it's hard to sit there and watch The Flash and even read comics when you have pink eye. It sucks. And no, Casey, nobody farted on my pillow before you ask.
It sounds like a country song in your house.
Yeah. Well, you know, it is Charlotte, North Carolina, and sometimes a day with pink eye can be entertaining, nonetheless.
Just exchange that Star Wars cup for a Natty Light. I mean, you got a hit single on your hands.
Something a little better than Natty Light, I think, at least. Come on, don't denigrate me that much, Casey. Don't stereotype and generalize us all to being Natty Light drinkers. We can drink Miller Lite around here, okay?
All right. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm being regionist. So, it's not just me and Brad tonight. We do have another co-host with us, but you guys may know him from another podcast on the Geeks with Wives Network, our video games podcast, the Press Any Key podcast. It's Mike. How's it going, Mike?
It's going good, Casey. It's a pleasure to join you in all your blurry glory tonight.
I know. Sorry, I had to knock down the bandwidth because I live in the country, literally in the middle of a field. I literally live in the middle of a field.
Well,
so the internet is not the best. I don't have the high cable or whatever that's microfiber or whatever that shit cable, whatever that fucking cable called, the good one.
I think it's microfiber.
Just regular fiber.
Okay, yeah,
Just
fiber optic cable.
PM particle fibers, microscopic. So
I got to do everything I can to stay on the air. So that means it means a blurry picture once in a while. Let's see if I can knock. Oh, there we go. Now it's a little squared.
Wow. Now you look 8-bit. This is an improvement.
So maybe now we'll have to now I'll fall off the podcast and we'll lose this show and we'll have to put up a best of. But
you can't invest
for 5 minutes.
You can't invest that heavily in internet connectivity when you're trying to buy Secret Wars, right? Case you have to cut the price down somewhere to be able to afford that tie-in.
Yeah, it's either $150 on internet a month or $200 on comics. So I chose to go with the comics instead.
I don't play that game anymore, guys.
Not the choice my wife would have made.
For the choice we all must make sooner or later. Paper crack.
Actually, speaking of Secret Wars, I'm actually writing a retrospective on Secret Wars 2. And I'm almost done. It'll be up on the website very, very soon, so keep an eye on it. Secret Wars 2 is the best Secret Wars, in my opinion.
Talking about not issue number 2, but the event Secret Wars 2. Okay.
Correct, the event.
That's crazy talk. There's only one Secret Wars, and it's the original, the toy selling fiasco that is Secret Wars. Also, my favorite Spider-Man cartoon or the Spider-Man episode is the 2-part Secret Wars one. It's really good. We can't wait for that, Mike. I can't wait.
That's where the symbiote suit came from, right? It was the original
Correct.
Secret Wars.
Correct. I have that comic.
Yeah, that was the first appearance of the black suit, so it will have always given us that.
I forget who the artist on that book is, but I just feel like he didn't want to draw the black and red Spider-Man, so he just drew him in a black costume, and then they had to explain it later. It's a symbiote that he got when he went to this weird planet.
I actually don't remember who the artist was.
It's really
was it
bad.
Perez? No, Perez did.
That's what I was thinking, but I don't think so.
No, Perez did Crisis on Infinite Earth.
Yeah.
So I
Brad
don't
didn't
think
look it up
so.
for us.
I'm gonna look it up.
If I look it up, my computer may crash. No joke.
Yeah, we will go off the air.
That would not be good. Okay, so Brad? What we talk? I don't like. Mikhail. I always want to call you Mikhail, Mike, because that's your native tongue.
That's right.
Mike's not a normal guest, so I guess we just go right into the Weekend Geek, right? Because we don't need to interview him. Everyone knows who he is. They listen to him every week.
He's world
Game
I would hope
Podcast.
so.
Yeah.
Please listen to me every week. It's a good
Obviously.
show.
It was Bob Layton who did that art. The guy that did the Demon in the Bottle art for the no, Demon in a Bottle, I think was that was John Romita Jr. did Demon in a Bottle. So it was actually Mike Zeck. Sorry, Mike Zeck. So no George Perez, nobody too.
Yeah, we were way off. We were terrible. In fact,
Yeah.
we should probably just turn this off. Just shut this down.
Nah.
All right. So thanks everybody.
Hey, I said I don't think it was him, but you know.
So let's go right into our Weekend Geek. Since, like I said, Mike, you guys all know who Mike is, so there's no point in really going into an in-depth interview. In fact, I think we've actually already interviewed him on this podcast once before. But we will
Many
go to him
moons ago,
first.
yes.
Yeah, many moons. That was, oh my gosh, we're almost to 100 episodes. I can't believe it. Mike, what did you read this week? What did you watch? What did you ingest? What superheroes did you hang out with?
You know, it's funny. I just started reading comic books again. I kind of took a little break, and what I've been reading actually is Thor: God of Thunder, which is the series that came out was it 2013, 2014? Written by
2013, I think, when they started to relaunch the Marvel Now.
Right. Jason Aaron one, yeah. So the first 9 issues are incredible. Like, I was so blown away. The art is fantastic. The story is so good. And, you know, Thor is such a hard character to write, I feel like, to make him approachable and relatable. Because he's the god of, thunder. He's an Asgardian. Like, he's essentially immortal or very close to it. And it's like, how do you relate to this person?
It's even tougher than Superman in a lot of ways, because at least Superman, you do have Clark Kent, right, who's raised in Kansas. But here with Thor, you have Donald Blake, sometimes the Doctor, but that's usually not the case.
No, Donald Blake is gone, man. Donald Blake hasn't been on the scene in decades. You know, that was a fixture of, I think, through the 70s and 80s, and then that's it. And then he was just Thor full time. You know?
Yeah, it was too hard to explain the whole Donald Blake thing, because, like, it was so weird that he, like, hit this stick on the ground, and all of a sudden he, like, became Thor, but, like, you couldn't really explain why, like, he was Thor, like, that's how he became Thor. It was, like, this convoluted, like, Thor was always inside of him, but, like, this, I don't know, it was so weird.
I kind of like that. I think the last one to do that was the J. Michael Straczynski, like, Oliver Coipel run did that. But back to the Jason Aaron run, sorry.
So the first 9 issues, really good, highly recommend them. It's all about this dude going around and killing gods. And so Thor is trying to get to the bottom of it, trying to figure out who this person is and what their goal is. And it's really, really good. And then there's like a layover issue, which is like 10, where he comes back to Earth and he interacts with people on Earth, and it's a pretty good issue. And then it goes into a new storyline starting with issue 11, and it sucks. It's not an interesting or good storyline. It involves Malekith, the Deceiver, the Dark Elf bad guy, who, if you saw the second Thor film, that's who it is. Basically, like, just killing a bunch of people, and it's not very good. And now I'm starting the third and final plot line, because it ends at issue 25, because that's when they did the whole twist on Thor and made him lose his powers and so forth and so on.
I bet the Malekith storyline was probably around the same time that the second Thor movie came out. They're like, how can we pigeonhole this character into the comics?
I think it was, but then, like, and I don't want to spoil anything for you, Mike, because Malekith does come back into play, but he in a really cool way. That's kind of still a factor now.
Yeah, they imply that he will, right? Because he makes some sort of alliance and stuff. But I haven't got to that part. Don't spoil it for me. But it was just overall, it was a really, really boring story. It was just like him going around killing a bunch of dark elves because he wanted to be king or something, and it's not particularly interesting.
That was the God Butcher storyline, wasn't it?
No, the first one.
The first one, the first part before
the first
Malachi
9 issues.
Yeah.
The God Butcher is really good.
Yeah.
Like fantastic. You get 3 Thors for the price of 1. Very good. Read it, but if you haven't, well, you might have, but our viewers out there, different story.
Yeah, I read that first trade. That was cool what you're referencing, where you get the 3 different Thors and the 3 points in time. That was a very cool twist. It's been a while since I read that one, though. But, yeah, that Jason Aaron, man, he's knocking it out of the park with Thor, with Star Wars, with anything he touches at Marvel over there. So
It's funny, though, that his best book is about a southern hick town and football.
Really?
Yeah, that Southern Bastards. I don't know if you remember it.
That's Jason Latour, isn't it?
Jason Aaron writes it.
Jason Aaron writes? Okay.
Jason Aaron writes it, and Jason Latour does the art.
Okay.
Yeah, Mike, I have no interest in sports. Like, I'm not a big sports guy at all. But like this book is it's like Goodfellas meets like Friday Night Lights. Like, it's so good. It's so good. And it's like shocking and like heartbreaking, and it's really an amazing book. Probably my favorite comic book out right now. Something that, like, every week when we get like our copies or our comics in every week, like, it's the first thing I read whenever it comes in.
Mm-hmm. The other thing,
really, really good.
The other thing that I've been checking out is because Disney acquired Star Wars and Disney owns Marvel, on the Marvel Unlimited app, which is how I read most of my comics, they put in a ton of Star Wars comic books. Just a lot of them. And so one of the comic book series is like a prequel, like the prequel of prequels. It takes place with like the first Jedi, and it takes place like 20,000 years before the movie. So I read a bunch of comics relating to that because I love the old lore of Star Wars.
Like the Old Republic time period?
This is even before the Old Republic.
Before the Old Republic.
This is before that. This is like the first Jedi on Tython.
Those are like 80s comics, right? Like those.
They are not.
No,
they came out in like 2013, 2014.
Oh, so they're the Dark Horse comics that like they just like acquired and put on the Marvel app?
I don't know if Dark Horse published them, or I have to. If I can look at the app, I don't remember.
Because Marvel didn't start publishing Star Wars comics again until this newest run, and it was owned by Dark Horse before that. And Dark Horse had been publishing it for like 10 years or something crazy.
I remember that. Yeah. Give me a second.
So they got it. I wonder if it's but I know that Marvel did release like a bunch of their old because they owned it before Dark Horse did, and they had like in the 70s and 80s, and they had a bunch of Star Wars comics. So I know they put those on there too.
So
I'm not sure if they put the Dark Horse ones on there too. You know, if they did.
These are Marvel. So I'll show you the issue. I'm just gonna hold it up so you can see it. I'll hold it up right there. You guys have a good view of it?
Yeah, Dawn of the Jedi.
Yeah, that's a Dark Horse book.
Even though it says Marvel in the corner there?
Yeah, they
acquired the rights.
They acquired it. So, yeah, that was originally a Dark Horse book.
So okay, yeah. So there you go. It's not bad. I mean, like, it's not. If you're a Star Wars buff, you love it. If not, so you know. But I enjoyed them.
So, Mike, what is your opinion on like reading Legends stuff now? Because technically that would fall into the Legends category, right? Because it's not canon with the new books and the new comics. Is it just if it's a cool Star Wars story, I'm going to gravitate toward it?
So the Legends stuff, the one I just showed you, basically like talks about like where Jedi comes from, right? Like who were the first Jedi? They spelled Jedi differently, and there's all this cool stuff. And this is before like you have Sith really, and even though it's technically not canon anymore, I don't really care. It's still entertaining. It's canon as far as I'm concerned, really.
Yeah, I think you can kind of make now. A lot of people vehemently disagree with this in Star Wars fandom. I'm kind of saying you can make up your own canon. For example, I really like the Darth Bane books, and until they make a Darth Bane comic or movie in the main continuity, that's going to be Darth Bane for me. I'm
Right.
not going to say, oh, this doesn't count. I wasted, 2 months of my life reading these books. I just think that's a little idiotic when talking about a fictional property. But that's my opinion.
At the end of the day, a good story is a good story is a good story. So if you enjoy it, who cares if it's canon or not? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, we just got a review up on the site for a Star Wars book. It's Dawn of the Jedi, not A New Dawn, which was the first canon book. It's actually a Legends book, Dawn of the Jedi, and it takes
I think that's
place.
the one I read.
Really? Well, is that what you read? Yeah, that was what you read, I guess, huh? Wow.
Yeah, it's 5 issues. It's a 5-issue miniseries, and there's 4 of them. They're all like, related to one another, basically.
This is like a book review, though, not a comic book review. The guy on our site actually reviewed the book, and they may have adapted it into a comic book. It was Chris Peary reviewed it for geekswithwives.com.
Yeah, Dawn of the Jedi Into the Void.
Yeah.
That's weird. That's so weird.
Boy, I don't think that was part of my story.
No, I think is this one of the new canon books?
No, it's not. No, the one that Chris reviewed for the site was a Legends book, meaning it was the old expanded universe. The one you're thinking about, Casey, is A New Dawn. All right, so there's Dawn of the Jedi.
I'm already done with this. Dawn of the boobs of the. Like, come on.
All right. I'm kind of getting Star Wars out already, and it's not even.
Oh, yeah, okay, I
Thanksgiving.
see it here. Yeah. This is a straight up book, but
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I'm a little worried. Like, it's no. What is it like? It's not even June yet, and
Yeah.
I'm already getting like, Star Wars fatigue a little bit. Like, I need to like reel it on back.
There is no such thing.
I know.
Oh.
And that's the other thing too. It's like maybe it's because like I haven't had Star Wars stuff for so long. Like I'm just being like selfish dick, but like I'm starting to like feel it a little bit.
See,
I will tell you that, obviously I'm from the game podcast, right? So I know my video games. The new Star Wars Battlefront game that's being developed by EA is getting a ton of flack because it's just like a shitty game. It seems like they're taking a step back from Battlefront 2. And
like they didn't learn anything from Titanfall, like not having a single like some kind of multiplayer like story campaign like hurts your game like dramatically.
But you could be Boba Fett, guys. Who needs a story when you can just fly around as Boba Fett?
But like I play a ton of video games. In fact, I'm playing Witcher 3 right now.
I downloaded it and I haven't had a chance to play it yet. I'm probably going to check it out. But if you want a good laugh, go to eastarwars.com, and it's basically someone trolling them and just basically like shaming them into increasing the content. And it tells you exactly what the old game had and what this current game has, and it's just like amazing.
Yeah, with Star Wars, I tend to get burnt out quicker, and I'm a lifelong diehard Star Wars fan, but I've been trying to finish Clone Wars. I watched Rebels. I've read most of the new comics in the new continuity. I read part of the first book that was in the continuity, A New Dawn. And I don't know, with superheroes, everybody talks about superhero fatigue, but to me there's so many different kind of elements and different we have the cosmic universe, we have the street level heroes, we have the bigger stories, the smaller stories. I don't tend to get burnt out on superheroes. Star Wars is just really rich property to me. And I know you have the bounty hunters and the Jedi and all the different parts of the Star Wars universe, but for some reason I get burnt out a little quicker on it. That's just me, though. All right, but it's a comics podcast, right?
It's true. So what have you guys been reading?
I've been reading Convergence. So I read 2 Convergence books this week. I read the main story, issue number 7, and after giving last week's a 9 out of 10, and really thinking this story had become relevant again, and it was actually affecting the DC Prime or DC New 52, as they used to call it, continuity. I was really excited about it. But boy, Casey, that last fight just kind of really disappointed me. Did you read Convergence 7, Casey? I don't know if Casey's on the line.
I did. I did. It's so like I don't know.
Well,
Like, I feel like they're dragging it out. Like once again, there's like dragging it out for no like reason. Like it's already like shown that it has no connection to like the current universe. Like it's literally like disconnected, and like yeah, whatever happens somehow will affect that universe, but like I don't think in any significant way, other than wiping out the other universes maybe.
If you haven't read Convergence, maybe skip ahead a minute or so.
Sorry.
At this point, I don't give a crap because I don't think you can really spoil
There's like
the story.
nothing happening. There's like nothing happening. Like nothing.
I like Telos, Casey. Like I like this character. I know he's not much more different than Galactus or Darkseid or any omnipotent, powerful.
No, but he is not. He's not even a villain. Like he didn't know he was a villain. He didn't think he was doing anything wrong. Like, he was just following orders essentially to stay alive himself, which is nothing new. Number one, number two, like I don't know, like you said, like this has literally no effect, and it's just another event, like another happening. And Brad, honestly, we could totally spoil. We could use names like Telos and Demonos and these things, and no one would have any idea what we are talking about because these characters are totally like they're irrelevant unless you've been reading like huge like side chunks of like the DC universe, which I mean the numbers prove that no one does read those. So
I have the April sales numbers for tonight, and holy crap, Convergence was huge. I'm talking the number 2 selling book, 143,000 copies at $4.99 a pop was Convergence 0. I think out of the top 50 books, 30-something were Convergence books in the month of April. And then there were some Star Wars books, and the rest was your typical Marvel books. So as bad as Convergence has been, there's a crap ton of people reading this book. But Telos, man, I like this character. He's interesting. He's the planet. He's the villain. He's not a villain. He's brainwashed, whatever. But like you said, he's finally fighting the new bad guy, however you say his name, Dimamos, whatever. Who cares, right? And then all of a sudden, Hal Jordan comes in with a Green Lantern power battery and zaps him and says, "Can I go home now?" I mean, that was the extent of that final battle. What did you think about that, Casey?
I don't. It just felt so like underwhelming, and I felt like I love Hal Jordan. I love the parallax, like his like ultimate Hal Jordan character. And I think that's cool. Number one, I didn't understand though because that character is super evil, yet he seemed to be like completely like normal and under control, and was just like kind of over the whole situation. And was like, we're done with this. But it did seem like the ramifications of spoiler alert, killing Demonos or Demonos or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Did seem to have some kind of like effect because he did say like I'm death or whatever. Like I don't know, something crazy like that.
Absorbed
so like I said, there is one more issue left, right? So I'm sure kind of like, okay, he's dead now. Let's all wrap this up.
Can I just say one thing real quick?
Go ahead, Mike.
I don't see the point in reading these comic books anymore. Like, it just doesn't make sense, man. Like, first of all, every year, both Marvel and DC, they do this mega crossover thing. Like, at this point, it's almost they're like contractually obligated to do this. Like, oh no, shit's gonna change. But
it's not every year though. It's like 3 times a year now.
Yeah.
Like,
even look, that just strengthens my argument. It's like, oh, everything's about to change. It's about to get cray in here, and it's like nothing really happens. Some random dude dies. Boo-hoo. You know he'll be back in a year. Death is irrelevant in the comic books. And the thing is, you pay for these comic books. DC's what, $3 an issue?
$3.99 usually.
$3.99. All right. I guarantee you that within a year, you go to any comic book convention and you will be able to buy them for $1. So it doesn't make sense for me to like.
No, it's totally you're paying a premium to be like that, like first buyer basically.
A part of the conversation too.
I completely agree with you. Yeah, and I mean, yeah, you're totally just paying a premium to be like in the zeitgeist for the moment.
The conversation
is
is
relevant.
stupid.
It's the same every year. Yeah, it's the same every year. Yeah. I totally agree with you. Like me and Brad were talking about this before. Like it would be really like cool if if Marvel said, okay, after Secret Wars, we're doing an event like once every 2 or 3 years, and we'll have events, we'll have major events, but they'll be confined to the characters. Like Spider Island. Like that's a perfect example of like how an event can work and how you can do it like every so often and how it can affect a character. But how it can still be fun, but how it's not like changing the entire Marvel universe every time a major event happens.
I agree. It's the publishers are just too eager to slap an issue 1 on something because people are dumb and people are gullible and they see issue 1 and they're like, oh man, this is gonna be worth so much money in like 10 years. And they gobble that shit up, and guess what, my friend? It's not worth jack because there's 100,000 copies of this thing floating around, and no one cares. You know?
Yeah, I believe at the fault too of the movies because like it always seems to happen like with Marvel, like a phase is ending, maybe it's time to reboot our like comics line, which is like yeah, I mean I understand on their side because like they can be like we can like hope. Like Avengers 2 made $2 billion. That's that's a 50% possible more market share of comics readers we can gain. Let's start a bunch of new number ones. I get that. I totally do on their side. But yeah, for people like us who have been reading for 10, 20 years and who are I'm not a collector, but people who are quote unquote collectors and who
I'm a collector.
Yeah, and like it ruins that. Like we're gonna get another '90s boom. Like it's gonna happen again.
It is. I have long boxes, and I used to of comic books. I can like literally step away for a minute and put one in front of the camera. I collect books, and I've essentially just stopped collecting. I used to try and keep up. Every week I used to go to a comic book shop like clockwork and pick up a big stack. And I stopped because there's no point in it. I collect, like the Vertigo stuff I'll still pick up. Image I'll still pick up. But Marvel and DC, their comic books plummet in value and it doesn't make sense to pay the premium. And most of it's garbage, unfortunately. So I'm like, yeah, I'll get to it in a couple of years. I'll get the back issues. They're not going anywhere.
I got two rebuttals. All right, so the boom. Casey was saying we're gonna have another '90s boom again. We're having a boom. Well, comics actually don't make. I mean, they make a decent amount of money, but it's not like the '90s where millions of X-Men #1, Spider-Man #1 by Todd McFarlane were selling. Like the #1 book was Star Wars this month. Number 4 sold 203,000 copies, which is a lot, but nowhere near what comics used to sell.
I'm curious. That list that you're looking at, does that take variants into account?
Yes, I think it's like all variants and everything, like all versions of that particular comic published.
Because I think it's only what it's only going to take into account what a store buys. I don't think it's actually going off. It's the same as video games, Mike. So like we can get sales numbers for a video game, but I think it's only what the store is buying, not is actually what's being sold. Because I don't think you could tell. Like I don't think you could record the numbers of being sold unless they were like shipping back comics to like the distributor or something.
Gotcha. Because that's another game that comic book publishers like to play nowadays. They're like, oh yeah, issue 1, but it's gonna have 5 variants, 7 variants. Fuck you, comic book publishers. I'm done playing your game because those variants sell for they're 1 in 50, 1 in 100. They sell for obscene amounts of money. And it's just
if you've seen Alex Rock's, oh my god, I can't even talk. Alex Ross variant, forget about it. There's no way you're touching that thing ever.
It's like 1 in 25 or something like that.
The closest you're getting to it is a preview on Geeks with Wives. That's as close as you're ever going to get to Just seeing that thing in real life.
Or Adam Hughes.
It's just a stupid game that they play to like drive up prices and generate artificial demand, and I'm done playing it, you know? I used to pick up 2-3 variants, and then I'm like, this is a major drain on my wallet. Why am I doing this? And
Yeah.
my rule of thumb now is if I think the cover's nice, I'll consider it, and you know, as long as the price isn't crazy, but generally speaking, I don't care anymore. I'll just buy the regular issue of something.
But I think the bubble's going to burst for superheroes, but maybe not necessarily the comics industry, because I think it's the same people for the most part. You know, you go into a comic book shop, Casey, I listened to y'all's episode last week. Most people in there are 30 years or older. They've been reading almost, you know, their entire lives, if not since they were teenagers or they could drive. They're continuing to buy books. Now, with the movies, the TV shows, all these new people are watching. We're in this golden
But they're not
age
buying
of
comics.
superhero media. Exactly. So eventually, I think comics will remain steady, but the demand, the oversaturation, you know, it's going to create a bubble burst in superhero media, but not in comics. I think comics will be sustainable, if nothing else, in a digital format.
Well, you bring up a very interesting point, Brad, and that is my third problem with comic books right now. It seems to me that too much stuff. I keep looking down because I have a cat. That's why I'm looking down. He's playing on the floor.
Does your cat have pink eye?
No. he
Okay.
doesn't have
Well,
pink
you're in good shape then.
eye. Say hello, cat.
What's your cat's name?
His name is Charlemagne.
Charlemagne.
That's right, because he's a coward, so I gave him the name of someone brave. All right, go play with your string. So the third thing is, my third issue is, too many comic books right now, mainstream ones, feel like they're being written for movie potential. So it's like the movies are guiding the books instead of the other way around.
That.
And it's just like it doesn't translate. You can't do that.
Like, what was the one with the Watcher where the Watcher got killed? Oh man,
Original Sin.
Original Sins. I actually just finished reading that as well.
That's exactly that felt like it was literally written as like a movie concept. Like, we're gonna need a movie and we're gonna need an Avengers movie in 5 years. Like have someone write a comic book like idea first, and let's use that as a movie. Because even the characters in that book are like specifically like Marvel-owned characters.
Yeah.
Like there's no X-Men, there's no like Wolverine. Like all those guys are like missing.
And what kills me about that particular book is the concept itself, right, is pretty good, right? It's like someone killed the
awesome.
Watcher. Who
Nick
did
Fury,
it?
Man on the Wall. Like that's so cool.
Right. Secrets being revealed because apparently secrets can be leaked out or something. But then they take it and they stretch the fuck out of that book. You know,
so they can have all the tie-ins in between.
They jerk you around, and it's so evident, and it you know, it's just like it feels like a slap in the face. It's like, you know, they just almost nothing happened between each issue. They like, you know, move the plot line along so slowly. It was just insulting.
See, like Casey was talking about, maybe that was written because they'll make a movie of it someday. For me, I have an issue with it on the flip side, whereas, and I know we've said this a lot on this podcast, and I have, when you take the TV shows or the films dictating what's happening in the comics. For example, Marvel doesn't own the rights to mutants, so they're hardly using mutants or that word anymore. It's all Inhumans because that's what they're pushing. And that kind of rubbed me the wrong way for a little bit, but I was just like, hey, at the end of the day, you ask, like, why do we read this? Why do we continue to do it and waste our money? Which is arguable, whether it's a waste of money. I mean, it's a hobby like hunting, fishing. If you get enjoyment out of it, why not? But it's for the characters, and I think there's a lot of us who love certain characters, whether it's Barry Allen, whether it's Barbara Gordon, Dick Grayson, whoever, that we care enough about them and they inspire us enough that we want to check in with them once a month, and we read their individual books, and then, like you said, the publishers jerk us around. the individual books pull us into a big event. We're like, well, we're reading Nightwing, so Nightwing's in this event, so I guess I'm going to read this event, right?
So here's the thing. I understand exactly where you're coming from. Absolutely 110%. But there's one thing that you're overlooking, all right? When you buy this shit, this schlock, you're only encouraging them to write more of it, okay? There are lots of good comic books out there, people. They're just not being written by the major publishers.
Yeah, Brad, we're totally part of the problem.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry to say you are. If you buy Vertigo, buy Image, because Image is creator-owned, you know what I mean? So the people there... My cat's in the way here. Get out of here, cat. The people there, directly benefit from your purchase of the books. And then, if you want to check in with Barry West, if you want to check in with Peter Parker, by all means do it. Just do it in a year or two where you can buy that comic book for $1. And where, Marvel and DC aren't, let them see those sales drop, because that's when they'll make changes. As long as you keep going there every week, they're just going to keep turning out the same shit.
Yeah, and it does suck when you're invested in a book like Miss Marvel. Not Miss Marvel, it's Captain Marvel by Kelly Sue DeConnick, right? And then Miss Marvel is Kamala Khan. But Captain Marvel, which has been this great book for issue after issue through 2 volumes, and then it's like now it's being pulled into Secret Wars. And that Secret Wars stuff could be awesome, but maybe you don't want to read Secret Wars. But I know Casey and I just had this conversation because I only wanted to read the X-Men and Hulk tie-ins for Secret Wars, and Casey's like, nope, you got to read the whole thing, Brad, to understand what's going on. And now I'm reading the whole thing, and I'm a part of the problem, like Mike's saying.
Read the whole thing in a year, man. I guarantee you nothing will change in the book. Like
I will. I feel like there's placeholder events, and then there are big events that matter, right?
Yeah, I feel like Secret Wars, like as much as like we've all kind of like dreaded like it's coming, like I'm really enjoying it like a lot. Like I think it's a really cool idea. Like it came out at the perfect time because like Game of Thrones just started and like Secret Wars started at the same time, and they're very like similar. Like there is a lot of things happening in Secret Wars that is like ripped straight from Game of Thrones, which is very, very cool. I love Doctor Doom.
Haven't read it. Don't intend to read it. I'm just gonna wait a couple of years and then I might consider.
Yeah,
but go on.
I love Doctor Doom, and I always like I've always rooted for him, like, because I just think he's a badass, cool villain, and like this is finally him winning. Like this, like Secret Wars is about him winning and about the world he would create if he won, and it's like it's a super cool idea, and like the fact like having like Thor, like an army of like Thor policemen and like this like wall that like keeps out like the Marvel zombies and like the Ultron bot. Like it's this weird like, fucking idea of like mishmash of like Game of Thrones and like Marvel, which is like 2 of the biggest things happening in the world right now. And we're getting both of them like smashing together in Secret Wars. Like it's a lot of fun. Granted, Marvel tends to start really, really good with this stuff and then take a huge dive on issue like 4.
So true.
So like
Civil War. Civil War.
No, I see. I thought Civil War stayed strong. Fear itself was like
Fear itself and like
Fear itself was awful from the get-go. Fear itself never started strong. It was just awful. It was garbage.
Yeah, Fear itself was complete garbage, but I think Civil War was a pivotal event, and I enjoyed that event.
I loved it. I was great. Don't get me wrong. But the last 3 issues, they're like, oh shit, we're making too many changes. We gotta dial it back. Oh, Peter Parker revealed his secret identity. Let's undo that shit because that's too crazy.
That
wrap it up real fast. Like even Infinity, literally ends. Like spoiler alert, Infinity literally ends with Thanos' son coming over and touching him, and they're like, oh, he's living dead now. We're done with everything's saved. Like what the fuck?
Yeah,
like,
that one.
In this? Like, oh my gosh! So it was just like
it's literally Marvel. It's like they're driving a car and they hit 60 miles an hour and they're doing well, and then the last 3 issues is just them slamming the brakes as hard as they can, and it shows.
And I think it's because they're constrained by like they can't have a 10-issue like event. It has to be 6 issues, or people lose interest. So they like have to like wrap like always like they start out super strong, and then they like gotta wrap it all up like real fast. I felt like Axis kind of did the same thing. Like I never felt like I got the sense of like what it meant, like what the mind switch, how meaningful it was to the Marvel universe, and like because it happened so quickly, and then it ended so quickly. Like there was never like a breathing time of like having to deal with that issue.
Look, a good story is a good story is a good story, right? Game of Thrones, which you mentioned, those books are 600-page books, and people read them. They don't, they might take a break here and there, but they finish the book, and they do it because it's a well-written book, all right? So that excuse to me doesn't fly.
But comics come out every month, though. Like, they have to be a continuing story. There's no break. The industry dictates that. I'm not saying it should be that way.
But then, Mike, I'm saying they're constrained. Like they say like this issue can only be, or this event can only be 6 issues. Like that's all you have to work in. Like you have to be, like you have to.
Yeah, but that hurts. I mean, that at the end that hurts them. I mean, I hear you. I agree with you. But I'm saying like that I feel pushes people away, not brings them towards Marvel or DC or whoever.
Yeah.
Just go read Image books, everybody.
I also read The Flash and Convergence #2, and apparently during his battle with Earth 9 Superman, Barry Allen is revealed that he's going to play a major factor once again in saving the multiverse because of something called an antimatter gun that only he can access throughout the multiverse, probably hinting toward Darkseid War. Now, I'm serious. I'm serious.
I know you're serious. Makes it no less amusing to me.
I know, but it was revealed that basically the reason I found it in all actuality interesting is much like Crisis on Infinite Earths, where Barry Allen kind of sacrificed himself and destroyed the multiverse and
dead for decades.
Which made that special, right? That made that very special. But apparently he's going to do it again, and it probably won't be as special this time. But yeah, that is what makes that character special, that fact that he's selfless and he sacrifices himself, as we see in The Flash every week. Did you guys watch The Flash this week?
Nah.
No.
Like, I hate season finales. Can we get over like this thing where like, oh, let's end on a cliffhanger? Because like, how torturous is it to wait like 6 months or whatever? How long you have to wait to like see how that show is gonna end? That's such a dick move. Like, end the season. Like, at least when a comic book arc ends, like it technically that portion of the story ends. Like TV does this thing where like they're like, season 1, no, we're not gonna end it completely. Like we're gonna leave on this like. With 5 minutes left of this like season, and then you're gonna have to wait till next season to see the last 5 minutes of the first season.
Casey,
Let's just end it.
I could argue. I don't want to spoil too much on this podcast because a lot of people hadn't seen it. But in some ways, you could just by rumors, maybe you could argue in a way that was an ending for the DC TV universe as it is now, and it's gonna be a new beginning on the other side.
I feel like if they do that they're gonna lose people. Like they're gonna lose them because people are gonna be like, "Wait, what? Didn't we just do this already? Like, what's happening here? We're starting the show over? Like, I don't know. I think, I understand like the whole like Speed Force idea and like the idea of like having multiple Flashes. Like, I understand that. I just think if they really do like what they say they're gonna do, which is like basically start over in season 2, but like have a different timeline, I think that's gonna confuse like a ton of people.
Well,
you set up a whole season establishing all these characters, and then now you're gonna say like, oh wait, that's all different now. I don't think so.
A lot of what I've just rumors, speculations, fanboys talking to fangirls, and vice versa. A lot that I heard was a lot of the fan service at the end of eras, such as Oliver and Felicity. The writers knew just that this wasn't gonna matter things were going to change, right? So let's give some fan service now. And on the other end of significant events in the last 2 episodes of The Flash, things will be different for
Oh my
everyone.
God, I think that's gonna make me mad if they come back to season 2 and like he changed the timeline for the entire like Arrow universe. Like he's not gonna be like Ra's al Ghul or
No,
he's not gonna be that guy anymore.
I
Like
really think that's where they're going. I think somehow Legends of Tomorrow with the Rip Hunter thing
but
and
see, that's where
time
I thought they
traveling.
weren't going there because Flash shows up in Legends of Tomorrow and seemingly it's the same Flash. So the events of Legends of Tomorrow had to have happened after the finale of the Flash, right?
I'm curious about that, and I want to admit I don't watch any of the TV shows because when it comes down to it, I only have so much free time, and I tend to skew a little bit more towards the gamer, side than the TV side. That's just who I am. But I saw the trailer for Legends of Tomorrow, and it looks a little ridiculous.
Yeah, it does look super cheesy.
And by a little, I mean like a lot ridiculous. So I was curious to how it seemed to you since you guys, obviously watch the shows.
It looks super cheesy, but it totally fits into that like universe because that universe is a little cheesy, but like that show is going like full comic book. Like Super Flash went full comic book like already, but that show is like taking like the Flash to the next like level, like full on like comic book like Justice. Like they're doing Justice League without calling it the Justice League. That's basically what they're doing. So I think it's gonna be cool, and I think bringing like Rip Hunter the whole time. Yeah, but they're doing like they're working with what they have, right? Like what are they? They're not gonna be able to have Arrow and Flash and like those guys show up every single episode. That's gonna cost them too much money. That's gonna train those guys for their own shows. So I think they have to kind of like work with what they got.
Also, here's my thing with it. They're already told like, oh, you guys are super amazing badasses in the future. So it kind of feels like it takes away any risk in the actual story that they'll fuck up, because it's like, well, I'm a super amazing badass in the future and I'm a legend and all that blah blah blah. So I must be doing something right. Pew pew pew. And there's no risk.
But that.
I always say that with time stuff it gets funky, man, because like it's really hard to tell a time tale.
It is. It's very difficult.
So yeah, I think that's weird. I don't know. I agree.
Paradoxes can be a tricky thing, and there's something that I want to talk about it so bad, but I don't want to spoil it yet. A potential paradox at the end of the Flash that. Until I really sit back, and I'm a comic book guy, I know all about the multiverse and alternate timelines and time travel and everything, right? But I had to really sit back and think, okay, where is this going? Why did this happen? Why did that create a time paradox? And man, I just think that could be off-putting to your average viewer, but Flash seems to be doing great.
No, it's fantastic, and I think they handled the episode well. Like, I just pissed off that that's how it ended. Like, I didn't feel like we got any kind of resolution from a season that like was leading up to like the whole season's like leading up to like this one resolution, and we didn't like technically get it. Like, we were left with a cliffhanger, which is totally fine, totally classic television shit. I just wish like we wouldn't do it anymore. But like, there's so much good TV on it. Let's just end the season, then end it, and not have to like wait 6 months to see the last 5 minutes of season 1. So I don't know. That's just me being a dick.
No, that's them being a dick and you calling them out for it.
I know. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for making me feel better. So yeah, Flash is fantastic, and I really hope that show just comes back twice as strong. And they've interviewed the producers and they said they're like amping up the special effects for season 2, and there's a cool little Easter egg that happened in the finale that they said will come back and pay off. So I'm really I just love that show so much, and I really hope it kind of keeps on its good track.
I'm just gonna say this. I want to say one thing about the Flash, and this my favorite superhero of anything is Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy, and to me, as far as nailing the character, getting Barry Allen exactly right, and his selflessness as Barry Allen just as much as being the Flash, like this is the best thing in superhero media for me since The Dark Knight in '08. That's how much I like season 1 of The Flash. Is it campy? Is it kind of bob your head, zippity doo dah, zippity day? Sure, a little bit, but man, they really nailed that character and the heart of that character, unlike Superman and Scott Snyder.
Yeah, we don't have enough time to talk about that shit anymore.
Nope.
Okay, so I'll talk about what I read this week, and then we'll talk about some news. I read about. Are you done, Brad? Did you talk about all that you read?
Oh yeah. No, I read a lot, but that's all I really wanted to talk about. I'm good.
All right. I dove into. Let's see here. Let me turn my camera so you guys can see the covers of what I'm reading here. Oh my gosh.
Nothing better than blurry covers.
I know, right?
I'm sorry. It's just so easy to make fun of you, Casey.
So A-Force. I checked this out. I'm kind of like me and Brad talked about this earlier. Kind of picking and choosing. The tie-ins to Secret Wars that I'm gonna pick and choose because there's so goddamn many of them, and I am not a millionaire, so I can't buy them all. So I have to be very picky. I know, it's rough.
Everett said people read your comics to you while they feed you grapes and pour you wine. What are you talking about?
That's only on the weekends.
Okay.
Yeah, I gotta keep it real during the weekdays. A-Force is it's good. Very basically about a paradise where the Avengers are a team of female superheroes. One of them gets in trouble and breaks one of Doom's laws, so she gets punished, and that's kind of where our story takes off. I really like the dynamic. The leader of the A-Force is She-Hulk, so she has to kind of make these tough decisions. But it's really kind of weird, to see. It's the first tie-in book I read for Secret Wars, so it's kind of weird to see how the whole Doom God plays into it, because instead of saying God, they say Doom. So instead of saying oh my God, you'd say oh my Doom.
Cool.
It's fucking weird. It's so weird. But it's super cool too. It's yeah, I guess you would do that. If you had no other idea. So I really enjoyed it. The artwork is really nice. By I believe it's Jose Molina. Perfectly fine, perfectly enjoyable. Not amazing, but really kind of a fun, good read, and very female driven. So that's always nice.
And Marvel announced that book's going to continue after the event, so that will be an ongoing now after Secret Wars.
So I don't know how that's going to happen, but okay.
Yeah, same here.
Whatever. I also read Spider-Verse, the Secret Wars tie-in, and this one was a little different because same idea, all these. So the idea of Secret Wars is, for anyone that doesn't understand, so Doom is rebuilt the universe basically, and so what he did is he made all these he made a giant continent called Battle World, and the continent has states in it, and each state is a different area he's built and populated, and that's where these heroes these tie-in stories take place.
Can I ask you a question as a reader? And
Sure.
Okay, so when the incursions happen, if one universe doesn't destroy the other, they both die, right? So the final incursion in issue 1's the Ultimate Universe and the 616, right? Yeah. So when that incursion's happening, what makes up Battle World? If an incursion destroys both universes, how are the continents on Battle World put together? Did Doom just
it sounds like okay. So in issue 2 of Secret Wars,
which I hadn't read.
Spoiler word. Okay, so okay. I don't want to tell you then, because you'll figure it out. But
okay.
Sounds like Doom is built the continent itself is built on the ruins of the old universes. Literally. And they go and they find artifacts, and those artifacts are deemed religious, what do you call a religious no? Heresy, they're considered heresy and blasphemous, so they have to be destroyed. And there's a whole story that's gonna kind of play into an artifact in issue 2, and I don't want to spoil it for you.
And he survived the incursion because he was in a black hole with the Molecule Man or something. right? Am I
Who,
close?
Doom?
Yeah, how did he?
No, he survived the incursion because he went and met with the Beyonders and was like basically like somehow we don't know how, but he met with them, had a conversation, and somehow got their power, and now has rebuilt like the universe essentially.
Okay. And
On the
that was
ruins of the old universe.
in the time runs out part of Hickman's Avengers
Right,
run.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's in the very first issue of. It's like the first couple panels of the Secret Wars #1. Like that's the conversation. That's the him meeting the Beyonders and having and like taking their power or whatever. Which he tries to do in the original Secret Wars as well, and does. So Spider-Verse, back to that. So same idea as A-Force. Like Spider-Verse takes place on like this like continent of like, but it's been populated by like Spider-Man. The weird thing here though is like they seem to be like oddly aware that they don't belong there and they're from a different universe. And that seems to be like the crux of their story, like trying to figure out like why are we all here together. And the main character seems to be Spider-Gwen at this point. But I wasn't really a big fan of the art. The art is by Rachel Rosenberg. Not a huge fan, kind of inconsistent, kind of ugly in some places. The cover in particular has a picture of Spider-Man Noir on it, and he has like googly eyes. And it's very like disturbing looking. I'm looking at it right now. It's kind of scaring me. And if you've seen that character before, like normally he has like black goggles so you can't even see his eyes, but in this picture he has like weird like googly looking eyes. That's just not. I'm not a fan. So I don't know if I'll continue with Spider-Verse. Wasn't like something that struck me. Like I like Spider-Gwen. I like all the Spider-Men, but I like Peter Parker the most, and he's not even there. So he's missing from this universe for some reason. It's like it's so weird. Like I just feel like once again like Secret Wars is a very cool idea, but it's not like explained very well.
Yeah. Where is Iron Man in all this? I know he's the superior
He's
Iron
on,
Man after Axis.
So his book is Armor Wars, I guess. So he's on like whatever Armor Wars island is, whatever book that ties into. That's what island he's on. So like
Okay.
A-Force is on Arcania. Spider-Verse happens, I think, on Manhattan, maybe. But like again, I had to look at that map because I don't think in Spider-Verse they say what island they're on. Like,
Look, Mike, you have to have this map to understand what's going on. That's the point it's gotten to.
That just makes me sad. Like I'm weeping on the inside. You can't tell.
It's sad. I understand it's sad and it's gimmicky, but at the same time it's cool. Like it's a fun story. You just have to be like wary. Like you have to know what you want. Like you have to like this. It's gonna and this is where Mike, being a guy like you who doesn't care, it's totally going to be the advantage because you're going to be able to go look at this in 6 months on the Unlimited app and pick and choose what events you want, and you're going to know which ones are the best ones and which ones to avoid.
Yeah.
And you're going to have the complete story in front of you. And I think that's probably the best way to handle Secret Wars at this point. But the problem is me and Brad hosting a podcast. Like we have to talk about it. We have to be there every week. And we have to like be in front of it, or otherwise we don't have. Or we're talking about comics that came out like a year ago and it doesn't. Like no one's gonna care anymore.
Hey, listen, that's not true, man. If you can tell people about an entertaining comic book that they might have overlooked, I don't know. I think worth a shot. Worth a shot. I can take the $100 I would have blown weekly or whatever. That's exaggerating, but whatever. I would with variants. I would regularly spend between $30 and $50 a week on new books. And just save that up for a month and then buy some nice Silver Age or Golden Age book that looks nice, retains its value, is important because it has a first appearance of so-and-so, that's just me.
Yeah, you're talking like a collector. It's in you.
I'm going in like one eye blind, and it's not because of Pink Eye, the Secret Wars, because I started reading like the Hickman Avengers run through Infinity, and like you were saying, Casey, like Infinity was kind of lackluster, right? So I dropped off. So I know about the incursions and destroying the worlds and stuff, but now I'm picking up with Secret Wars, and I didn't read the Time Runs Out, but I'm gonna piece the knowledge together. but I have a decent amount of comic book knowledge. You know, not some genius like an encyclopedia or anything. I'm not the Reed Richards.
Hey, there's Marvel wikis for that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
believe me.
I'm not a Gasicles, okay, is what I'm saying pretty much. No, but nobody is, right? And
that guy's just smart in general.
and it's tough to kind of to catch on to some of the stuff in Secret Wars because Jonathan Hickman's like the modern day Grant Morrison, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's pretty crazy.
Ahead, Casey.
I agree. He's pretty crazy, and he likes to draw things out for a very, very long time. I also read Guardians of the Galaxy number 27, which is titled "The End?" ? Basically, it's them like wrapping up like their series before. It's been this kind of wrapping up Guardians of the Galaxy before the Secret Wars stuff. So typical like Guardians of the Galaxy, like, oh, maybe we should like break up for a little while. So nothing like cool or like life-changing. With the news that came out that Benis is leaving X-Men, I wonder if how long he sticks on Guardians of the Galaxy. I feel like it's not been his best. I feel like the first volume is probably the best the Guardians of the Galaxy has been, and the rest of it's kind of just been like, how can we throw the X-Men in Guardians of the Galaxy?
I wish he would write Spider-Man.
Crossovers. They've had 2 crossovers with X-Men. Like, why do Guardians of the Galaxy and X-Men have any reason even talking to each other, let alone having 2 like giant crossover events? I don't know. So yeah, that was that. I also read Wytches.
Very good question.
Yeah, it's super weird. It's Benis because Benis just like he's like, instead of writing 2 books this week, I'm just gonna write 1 and mash them together. Also read Wytches number 6 from Scott Snyder and Jacques. Fantastic book, amazing. I don't want to talk about it too much because I really think everyone needs to go read it. If you're at all squeamish or scary or scared of nightmarish things and have like are not into horror or anything, probably avoid it completely because it's really scary and really like eerie, especially with Jock's art. Like it's crazy good. Oh my god, I'm blanking on his name. Jonathan Reyes, one of our comic reviewers, gave it a 10 on the site, and I completely agree. It's a fantastic book. The first 6 issues are really just something special. So go check that out. That's a good old Image comic. I think that's pretty much all I read. I'm sure there was other stuff in there. I'm reading Jupiter's Legacy and those ones, but I don't know. We've all kind of read those by this point, so check those out as well. Really looking forward to digging into Chrononauts and what else? Archie versus Predator number 2.
Really, Archie versus Predator, like.
It's fun.
How do you even say that with a straight face, man?
This is fun. It's good fun.
It's super fun. Yeah, it's good fun. And like you said, like in the interest of story, like you don't have to worry about continuity. You don't have to worry about like any like crazy connective tissue. Like they can just have like they can tell a one-off story and have crazy fun with it, and not have to worry about any tie-ins or any stupid shit. So. I mean, Afterlife with Archie is probably the best thing that happened with Archie in 50 years. So, and I really kind of dig I'm digging the Predator stuff. That's it. Brad, you want to talk about a little bit of news, and then we'll wrap this show up?
Yeah, we'll talk about. Let's just end with one news item since we're running near the end of our allotted time, and that is. Maybe a recommendation for readers to pick up at least one book. Maybe Mike will go out and pick up this one, Batman number 43, because
Batman
Snyder
is one of the few exceptions because Snyder's fucking awesome. So
yeah.
Well,
Snyder is one of the few exceptions I make for. Like I read him in bunches. I'll buy like 10 issues at once, but I'm like my collection of Batmans are in the 30s, so I'm not too far off.
Smart man.
I don't know if I'm continuing with Batman after Convergence. Like I am not really into like the mech. I'm not into mech Batman.
Here's what's gonna happen.
Zero reason whatsoever.
Now, the news item is he's introducing a villain, Mr. Bloom. Don't know him. Don't know anything about him. There's a picture. He kind of looks like a little scarecrowish, but we'll see. It's Scott Snyder. I trust him. So pick it up. You never know what a first appearance could be worth. Probably nothing, but maybe something. However, I think It's gonna all work out, Casey. He's gonna do 52 issues. Scott
I'm sure it
Snyder's
is.
gonna finish with issue number 52 of Batman and finishes.
Whoever follows him is fucked. Whoever follows
It'll be
Snyder,
that James Tiny in the fourth who
big.
will not.
Is James Tinney in the fourth following him?
That's a rumor. A rumor.
I mean,
that
James
might
isn't a
be.
terrible writer. He's actually pretty solid, and they worked a bit together on Batman Eternal. But
Yeah.
it's a big shoes to fill, man. Very big shoes to fill.
I'm reading that book solely for Snyder, and like, I don't know what I'm gonna do when he leaves. Like, I just don't know. Like, I'm worried about the whole mechanized thing, but like I said, I'm gonna stick on there because I've been sticking with it from day one. But usually, like when Jeff Johns left Green Lantern, like I was done with it. Like I had no interest in not reading a Jeff Johns Green Lantern. So.
But Batman, it's had two back-to-back great writers because it was Grant Morrison before it was Snyder, and that was a good run too. I like Snyder better.
I wasn't a huge fan of Morrison stuff. Like I don't really like the Batman Incorporated and all that weird.
I
don't
like
that
Morrison either. Batman Incorporated wasn't terrible, but on the whole, I don't like Morrison stuff. Like
he's too weird. He's too weird.
Yeah, he is weird.
I mean, it's not the. I don't know if it's weird. It's just whatever he does, I don't like it. I will tell you this: have the two of you read Animal Man from the '80s?
And he wrote that. No, I haven't read it.
I do hear it's great.
It's
fantastic.
Amazing. It's so good. But honestly, that's like the only thing of his that I will gush over because like everyone is basically like in love with All-Star Superman, and I was like, no.
Yeah, I don't understand the love for that book either because I'm like, I understand like, oh, Superman's like this omnipotent god and blah 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 blah, but like I get it, okay, like I thought everyone knew that, like I don't understand like why that book is so like beloved or.
Not to say that the book is awful, it's not, but it's nothing special. It's a sort of
it's
standard
it's like a
Superman story. Yeah.
My favorite Grant Morrison run is not all New X-Men. It's New X-Men, and I recommended it to Jonathan today, Jonathan Reyes, who writes for the site, when he gives you one of the better twists in comic books that you really didn't see coming. Have either of you read any of that New X-Men? It's like from 2003. So. It was right before Astonishing X-Men that Joss Whedon did, I think. It was right before that.
No, I definitely read Astonishing, but I don't think I read New X-Men.
Well, look up New X-Men. It's good. You can get the trades relatively cheap, and it's probably on the Marvel Unlimited app.
I'll take a look. I haven't read it, but I'll definitely take a look.
Yeah, me too. Thanks, Brad. Always coming in with the great suggestions. All right, is it time to wrap up the show?
Sure,
we good. So let's Doomsday and Batman v Superman. What do we think about that?
I mean, why not shove another character, shove another costume in there? Just call it Justice League already.
If they make it, if the rumor is true, the rumor is that like somehow like Lex Luthor. Spoiler alert. Sorry. Somehow Lex Luthor gets like what's his name's body, General Zod's body, and like reanimates him and makes him like Doomsday. Like that's the rumor. Like why not just make it Bizarro at that point? Like isn't that Bizarro? Like I don't know. I just have like that trailer really still like irks me so bad. Like like you're making Superman the bad guy? Like that's totally the whole like opposite point of Superman. Like he's supposed to be like this bright like shining beacon of hope, and you turn him into Batman. Like literally DC cannot write a movie that is not Batman. Like every character is Batman.
Did you hear about how they approach a script that leaked? I think Vanity Fair leaked it, that they, instead of having a clear vision, they'll have a writer come in on the script, write about 50 pages of a draft, and exec will read it and be like, it's okay, it's not okay. And if they don't like the first 50 pages, they say, all right, the next part, we're going to use the same draft. A new writer's just going to continue that draft, and they pick the best script. That's how convoluted things at Warner Brothers are.
I swear to God, they released that list of like movies they're making. I guarantee you half of those movies don't get made. Like, I still don't think Shazam is ever happening.
That's what I was gonna say.
I
There's
don't think The
no
Flash
way.
is ever happening. Like, there's
Flash will
no
happen.
way if there's no way, because there's no way if that show is in season 3 and it's still the juggernaut that it is now. There is no way they are stupid enough to make a movie starring a different character. There's
Listen,
no way.
never underestimate Warner Brothers stupidity.
I know.
That's one.
Yeah.
2, I was going to say, if you guys are curious, they recently did a documentary about the Superman.
Oh yes, I am dying to see it.
I heard about this.
Death of Superman Lives. Yeah.
Yeah, Death of Superman Lives.
Is it out? Is it out now?
The documentary, I believe, if it's not out now, it should be out in the next week or so.
Pretty soon. Yeah.
And it's got a lot of footage of like fucking Nicolas Cage in the Superman outfit, and it just looks weird. It looks so wrong.
That's the one Kevin Smith was
yes.
Right.
Correct.
Exactly. I heard that story many times on Kevin Smith podcast.
Required to have a giant spider.
It's giant
yeah,
spider.
exactly. That story.
No, but still, I've heard good things about the documentary, so you should
the
definitely check
documentary
that out.
looks great. I'm really pumped to see. In fact, John Shep has been at like a bunch of cons I go to, and I always like try to go and talk to him about it. He's a super nice guy.
You bring up the CW though, Casey. You know that they said since we're having a Suicide Squad movie, we can no longer use the Suicide Squad on Arrow or any other shows, right? But how come you're making a Flash movie, but the Flash TV shows continue?
That's what I'm saying. Like they have these weird rules, and that was the same thing when the Tom Welling show Smallville was around.
Yeah.
Like there was a specific rule saying we have a Superman movie in development. You're not allowed to say Superman. You're not allowed to use a suit. But you're not allowed to do this and this and this because we don't want any connectivity between that and the TV show. I just don't see them I don't see them doing that with the Flash. I just don't think those movies are happening. Like if Batman and Superman does not make $1 billion, like if it will. I don't think it won't.
Just on the title alone.
Yeah, but for any reason that does not meet like all of their expectations, they will not make any of those other movies. They'll start all over, or they'll do something different.
I tell you what sucks, man. Phil Lord and Chris Miller, the guys that did 21 Jump Street and the Lego movie, are writing the Flash movie. And I respect these guys. They're talented. They're witty.
For sure.
They're good. They're very personable with the media. But they said, our Barry Allen's going to be very different. And it's like, okay, talking about then the CW show. Dude, that CW show nailed Barry Allen perfectly, that character. Like I said, his selflessness, his charm, his heart. And I know I'm going on and on about that, but if you're just going to change it to change it, the character, to differentiate it from a TV version, and that pisses me off.
Well, the thing with Miller and Lord though is they're literally writing every movie in Hollywood right now.
True.
So I don't see I don't see how they have time to like write the Flash. Like I just don't think that movie's happening. Like I don't until like we see a trailer. I don't see any movie happening after Justice League Part 1. Like I just like something in that ship is going to go terribly wrong, and they are just going to abandon it. Like all it's going to take is one bad movie, and like maybe and Ant-Man for Marvel is going to be a huge test for them. I thought like people thought Guardians of the Galaxy was going to be the test. Like I think Ant-Man's going to be the fucking test. Like,
I agree.
Like it's going to be interesting to see when that movie does not do well, because I don't think it's going to do well.
It's had a troubled development history, but you know I'm cautiously optimistic. Paul Rudd is a really good actor. Well, not really good, but he's entertaining.
Go watch those trailers. He literally has 3 lines. The entire and if all those trailers combined, he says 3 words. Like that's troubling to me. Like there's no like moment where he like there's no voiceover from him. There's literally no dialogue. We have not seen any dialogue from him at all, except for the 2 times that he makes fun of himself for being called Ant-Man.
I mean, it's Marvel. People are going to go see it. I doubted Guardians, and I saw it. I was delighted. And I think in this case, it will be different than that. That it'll come out, and I won't be delighted as I was with Guardians, but it will still make a decent amount of money, enough to where Marvel can justify keeping the character around.
Yeah. I just think it's gonna be totally interesting. Like, I hope it does well because I like Ant-Man, and I especially like Scott Lang. Like, I think he's a really interesting character, more so than Hank Pym. Because
Yeah,
Hank Pym's just another like scientist. Like, who cares?
and a womanizer too.
And a wife beater.
Yeah,
But Scott Lang's he's fun. He's charismatic. He fucks up. Like, he's a screw up. Like, he thinks he'll be a good fit for the MCU. Like, I'm just worried. Like, what if that movie bombs? Like, what do you do with Ant-Man now? You know what I mean? So I don't know.
that comic is really good. The one by Nick Spencer. It's a lot of heavy on dialogue, but man, it's a funny read every month.
And I hope that's the direction. I hope and I pray and I almost guarantee that's the direction that they're going with the movie, because I don't think they would have put out that comic with starring Scott Lang if that wasn't the direction. Like, that first issue is almost a perfect first issue. Like, it introduces you to Scott Lang in a cool way. It shows you like his power set and what he can do, and then it makes him make the stupid fucking decision that he of course would make. So like, it's an awesome comic book, and I really just hope that comes through like in the movie. I just don't feel like I've seen those. Like, the coolest part of that whole trailer is seeing a Thomas the Tank Engine like fall over.
If they can just bring in John Goodman as Grizzly, I'll be happy.
That would be funny.
$1 billion.
Brad, where can we find you?
You can find me on geekswithwives.com right now, putting out my weekly Convergence reviews. So I only got one more left. Just want to say I've been getting those up on Wednesday nights, but my comic book shop owner has a life. He's going to Vegas for Memorial Day and staying there gambling away all my money that he made off of me buying comic books. So I'll be a little late on the Convergence 8 review, so that'll probably be hitting on the site the Monday after it comes out, unfortunately, unless one of our colleagues wants to beat me to it. But you can find me on Twitter at the Real Brad Bell, REEL Brad Bell.
Mike, where can we find you, buddy?
Well, obviously, I've got my own podcast, the Press Any Key video game podcast. The next episode should be up on Friday, so you can check that one out. We interview the developer of Darkest Dungeon, Red Hook Games. It's a pretty good interview. Highly recommend that one. And then I've got the article coming up on the Secret Wars, which is the best Secret Wars ever. And if you haven't read it, you should read it. And of course on Twitter at ChronoCloud, KRONOCLOUD. Feel free to hit me up. I always love to talk to people about comic books, video games, whatever the case may be.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike, so much for coming on and talking comics with us.
My pleasure.
And making us feel like crap.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for making
Joking.
me feel like throwing my money away.
I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to help you.
You're not helping at all. You're just making me feel terrible about
He
myself.
wants us to quit the podcast.
But I can't. I'm
buying
addicted.
comic
It's
books.
like heroin. Like, I can't stop doing it.
It's
Like, I go
paper
in
crack,
every week,
man.
and I'm like, I'm only gonna get 3.
If I can quit,
I walk out with
so can
fucking 10.
Listen, I love comic books just as much as you guys.
You can find me at Bad Boy Comics and at GWW Capes Crew. Make sure you guys are going to Geeks with Wives every day. We have something new going up there every single day. Amazing stuff from our amazing team of writers. It's a great group of guys and girls. So make sure you guys are checking out the reviews on tech, on comic books, on video games, editorials, on all the same things, cosplay, features, all that good stuff. Tons of podcasts. I think that's it. We are out of here. You guys can find us at Geeks with Wives on Twitter as well, and we will catch you next week, and we will catch you on the geek side.
So next